I spent 6 years on the school committee working with schools like Elm Park, and there's a lot of things I'm proud of that time on the school committee. Number one, despite real tough economic times on the school side, we were able to lower dropout rates by increasing the number of alternative programs for kids and expanding alternative programs. We were able to kind of bring more health programs into our school. I helped to spearhead working with Councilor Haller and other folks to bring the Elm Park Health Center, which serves the kids during the day and the community in the afternoon. We were able to expand a dental program to serve kids that served over 20,000 kids in the schools in 5 years. Didn't cost the taxpayers a dime. And most importantly, we were able to protect our community school program to make sure kids had a safe place to go on after school hours. And very key for the folks in Worcester Interfaith deserve a lot of credit for the work they did to keep the pressure on them. Listen, we have some tough times ahead, we have some tough choices, and I'm certainly going to do everything I can to make sure we're spending our money wisely. But I'm going to be honest with people as well. If it's down to raising, cutting hundreds of teachers and any programs that kids need and families need to be successful, yes, we have to look at that property tax levy. Yes, we've got to keep teachers in the classroom and give kids good programs that will take care of their needs, help them be successful. That's my commitment to folks, and I think that's the honest conversation we need.
Everybody has their own definition of what honesty is. We have $12 million that we can tap into. After the promises have been made to give the police their educational incentives, the Quinn bill, there's only going to be $6 million left. With that $6 million, we're not going to solve the problems in the school system. That's $26 million in deficit. So what are we going to do? You're going to go for an override? How many do you think? Here, I think an override is going to win. It's not. I just listened to the governor today say he was going to cut 2,000 jobs and he was going to ask whoever's left to take a 9-day furlough. That's digging into the employee's pocket to make sacrifices to save jobs. We have 0 pay increases on the table, 25, 75 for health insurance premiums. The unions refuse to agree to even do that. We are going to be at a larger jam unless the unions stop trying to get their own candidates elected so they can preserve all their salaries and benefits, and they get on the table and realize that we're all in this together and they have to make those sacrifices. That's what the truth is.
This is an interesting evening. You need to know that we go from debate to debate to debate, and we get asked about the tax levy. And this is the first time I would say that the majority of folks have said that they would look at increasing taxes. So this was the right question because it raised the right issue. I don't think there's any question that as we hit harder and harder economic times, that we're going to need more and more community involvement in the schools. And I know from talking to folks door to door that they often feel like their attempts to interact and offer what they have to offer to the schools does not always get accepted. So I think there's an attitude change that we are all in this together and that the administration, not just with the schools, but with the city as a whole, has to start working with us a lot more. The second thing is that I don't think there's any question with the foreclosure crisis, etc., that the tax base in the city is also in trouble. So the reality is we're going to have to look at more taxes. We're also going to have to look at, we can't afford to cut services that much, which means we're going to have to look at the entire financial structure. And while we're talking about telling the truth, remember, the city is still funding lots of big downtown projects that we don't necessarily even see come to fruition. So there is the
I've been in this community for 26 years, studying them. The politicians say the same thing for 26 years, the same grind. America is broke right now. The politicians have no money. The only way is a man like me that can reach outside of Worcester, tear down that fence that divides us, unite us, and get the jobs from outside projects. And when you want the job, please call on me, 508-292-0536, because we're going to put a core of workers to go after the $750 billion that is coming down in the street, minus 16%. I'm telling you, we got to change this world. We cannot listen to that dribble, okay? There's no time for studies outside. Look at me.
I know some people that need jobs, so they're going to want your number later.
Thank you. Barbara Howell, City Councilor, District 4. Let me tell you what we have done to work on education in the district. We have a new playground at Jacob High Elementary School that was built because there was a group of parents and teachers that wanted to do something better for their students. Worked together. We were able to get some funding from the city. They raised independent funding. We're able to make it go forward. Elm Park Community School, that playfield has just been reseeded, and it's a wonderful asset. Again, a group of concerned people getting together, sitting around the table and figuring out how we can do it better. Chandler Elementary School was raised this question about wanting another playground. We can follow that same model. Happy to work with a group of people to identify what the need is and to identify ways to get it done. Worked with the Woodland Academy Task Force, along with Community Connections, to set up a task force to deal with some of the issues around that school. And we've been very effective in working to bring new resources. We have private developers now contributing to the school coffers for helping children have needed resources. But the issues around nutrition, we had the farmers market in Main South, we have many community gardens, we have Youth Grow, the farm off of Ariad Street. Nutrition is an important part, and happy to continue to work on improving nutrition in our schools. With regard to raising taxes, that is the last option. When we raise taxes, it raises cost of living for everybody, including renters and home buyers, and it drives people out of our city. We have to look at all other avenues of increasing efficiency and reform in our system, including asking our public employees to be part of the solution, rather than refusing to come to the table to help have that conversation.
See? How many people here remember after school, if you had nothing to do, what did you do? You got into trouble. At least I did. How many people if you didn't have a plan for what you were going to do after school, then you wandered off and you found things to do that you shouldn't do? I think this is the key. We need to get kids involved in the community. We talk about playgrounds. This summer, one of the hottest topics was the pools. We have so many kids in the community. We have 12 great colleges in the community. I think it's time that we realize that we get people involved in the future of the community and get people to take part in building playgrounds and planning out and get the kids involved in their future so that they know that if they take part in some of the projects for the future, that they'll treasure the projects that were created. So the pools, we get kids involved in planning the pools and building the pools. This summer when the pool committees were here, they said in some communities they actually have the kids build the pools, and when the pools were done, they took pride knowing that they took part in that. If we involve the entire community in everything that we do, we'll have a